The ancient sky was never silent. Across deserts, mountains, and oceans, civilizations looked upward, fearing the moment when a celestial wanderer would return. The three-eye Atlas Comet is not just a rock and ice traveler, it is the coded warning that has whispered through the bones of forgotten temples for thousands of years. In Sumerian clay tablets, priests etched star maps that align with a mysterious glowing intruder in the heavens. It wasn't named then, but its trajectory was identical to what astronomers now trace as the path of the three-eye Atlas Comet. They wrote that it cleaves the sky and changes the fate of men. Egyptian hieroglyphs show a serpent of light coiling above the pyramids, its tail sweeping the stars aside. High priests of Ra marked such appearances as omens of both destruction and rebirth. Some believe these carvings predict the exact return date of a comet, with features eerily similar to three-eye Atlas. The Mayans, whose astronomical knowledge still baffles modern science, recorded a torch in the sky that signaled the closing of one great age and the violent birth of another. Their stone codices describe fire from the heavens, oceans rising, and the reshaping of continents when this celestial visitor reappears. In the cold mountains of Tibet, hidden within monasteries older than the written word, scrolls speak of the eye of the dragon that will descend across the night sky. The comet's brilliance is described as so blinding it wakes the dead from their eternal slumber. Such prophecies are said to mirror the coming of three-eye Atlas. The Hopi of North America passed down oral legends of a blue Kachina star that dances before the Great Purification. This celestial sign, they said, would shatter illusions and force humanity to choose between harmony with the earth or total self-destruction. Some elders believe this star is not a star at all, but a comet. Ancient India's Rig Veda speaks of a blazing chariot with a tail like a river of fire, tearing through the heavens. It warns that when this chariot appears thrice in recorded memory, the world will witness floods, quakes, and the fall of empires. The three-eye Atlas Comet's arrival may be the third and final sign. Chinese astronomers of the Han Dynasty documented a heavenly broom sweeping across the firmament, an omen of dynastic collapse and cosmic reset. Their records note that this phenomenon moves with unnatural speed and carries a color between jade and sapphire, the same hues modern scientists describe in three-eye Atlas's coma and tail. The link between these civilizations is unsettling. None could have known the others existed, yet their warnings align with uncanny precision. The imagery, the timing, and the celestial descriptions point toward the same recurring visitor. And now, modern telescopes confirm its path, cutting straight toward Earth's neighborhood once again. When three-eye Atlas was first detected, astronomers marveled at its size, speed, and color. But as its orbital path was calculated, whispers began among those who remember the old prophecies. This is not its first visit. It is a returning herald, bound by a cycle too long for human memory but not for stone. What troubles many is the timing. Every ancient account warns that this comet's return is not merely a spectacle, it is a trigger. Whether natural disaster or a shift in consciousness, something profound always follows its arrival. And as history shows, civilizations often fall in its wake while new ones rise from the ashes. The lost city of Atlantis, if Plato's account holds truth, was said to perish in a single night of floods and fire from the sky. The timing of its destruction eerily matches one suspected pass of this same comet. Could three-eye Atlas have been the hammer that struck the heart of that fabled empire? The Younger Dryas period, around 12 to 800 years ago, saw a sudden global cooling, extinctions, and massive floods. Ice core samples suggest a catastrophic celestial impact. Some researchers believe it was caused by a large fragment of the very body we now call three-eye Atlas, breaking apart and raining devastation upon Earth. Such events are not confined to the distant past. Medieval chronicles tell of skies turning strange, of blood rain and failing crops after a luminous wanderer passed near Earth. While science attributes these to various causes, the timing again aligns with a cometary cycle, one that fits three-eye Atlas's orbital rhythm. What's most haunting is the possibility that ancient civilizations were not primitive skygazers, but recipients of knowledge from an earlier, even older civilization, one that endured the comet's wrath and recorded its return pattern. This knowledge became myth, religion, and warning to those who would inherit a fragile Earth. In recent decades, researchers have uncovered megalithic sites aligned with extreme precision to comet paths. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, older than Stonehenge, holds carvings depicting a cosmic disaster and a long-tailed object blazing in the sky. Scholars argue these were not decorations, they were messages meant for us. The ancients often encoded the comet's return in their architecture. The pyramids, Angkor Wat, and certain Mesoamerican temples seem to track cycles matching Three-Eye Atlas's journey. The stone is the medium, the message eternal. When the serpent of light returns, so too will the trial of humanity's endurance. Modern astronomers speak in data, not prophecy, but even they cannot ignore the comet's unusual nature. It's larger than expected, traveling faster than models predict, and displays bursts of activity inconsistent with standard physics. Some suspect it carries a core of unusual composition, possibly metallic, possibly even artificial. Artificial. The word should freeze the blood. If this object is more than natural, the implications are staggering. Could it be an ancient probe, a relic from a lost interstellar civilization, designed to observe or even influence planetary life during each pass? If so, its return is no accident. The Three-Eye Atlas Comet, in certain esoteric circles, is called the Watcher. The belief is that it arrives not to destroy, but to measure. Humanity's wars, greed, and disconnection from the natural world are weighed, and the outcome decides whether the next age is born in light or fire. In the Book of Revelation, there is mention of a great star, wormwood, falling from the sky and poisoning the waters. While theologians debate its meaning, the image bears a chilling resemblance to cometary events. Could this be a distorted memory of the same recurring visitor in apocalyptic scripture? If patterns hold true, its passing will not be subtle. The skies will shimmer in unnatural colors, meteor storms may erupt, the planet's magnetic field could shift, tides will swell, and with these physical events, the psychological, mass visions, prophetic dreams, and a collective sense that something ancient has awakened. The true danger may not be in the comet itself, but in how humanity reacts. Fear has toppled empires as surely as floods. When the sky burns, will nations unite or descend into chaos? Ancient accounts suggest both outcomes are possible, depending on whether humanity faces the trial together or apart. Some prophecy keepers claim the comet's return is also an opportunity. Those attuned to the Earth and cosmos can use its energy to elevate consciousness, unlocking abilities lost to modern humans. It is said that the same force that topples kingdoms can also awaken dormant strands of human potential. If true, then Three-Eye Atlas is a mirror. To the violent, it brings ruin. To the wise, it brings renewal. This duality explains why ancient records show it as both destroyer and giver of life. The comet is neither good nor evil. It simply amplifies what already resides in the hearts of humanity. In hidden vaults beneath the Vatican, in sealed chambers of Tibetan lamas, and in restricted archives of world governments, documents reportedly speak of a great return in our era. While the public hears of comets as harmless wanderers, behind closed doors, the narrative is far more urgent. Satellite data already reveals strange anomalies in Three-Eye Atlas's coma, radio emissions, structured bursts of light, and a gravitational pull slightly inconsistent with its estimated mass. If these readings are accurate, the comet's core may contain something more than frozen gas and rock, something perhaps engineered. Ancient lore whispers of messengers in stone, vessels carrying the memory of worlds. If Three-Eye Atlas carries such a message, humanity's response could determine whether the sender reveals itself or passes judgment. The sky is not merely a stage, it is a ledger, recording the cycles of rise and ruin. And now the countdown accelerates. The comet's approach grows nearer with each passing night, its tail lengthening, its glow intensifying. Observatories watch in silence, knowing the last time it came, the Earth's surface was rewritten. We are not simply observers, we are the next line in a prophecy older than writing. The ancients tried to warn us, but in symbols, myths, and stone. They knew words fade, but symbols endure. The serpent of light, the heavenly broom, the blue star, all speak of the same arrival, And as its brilliance crowns our sky, the final test will unfold, ready or not. We must choose our path before the heavens choose for us. Whether the three-eye Atlas Comet becomes our destroyer or our awakener depends not on its nature, but ours. The age that follows will be shaped by the hearts that beat beneath its gaze and by how we meet the fire in the sky. They called it a myth, a celestial whisper lost in the sands of time. But deep beneath the dust of forgotten temples, the truth slept, waiting. The three-eye Atlas Comet is not just a wandering rock in space. It is the living key to a cycle older than humanity's memory, older than the stars we see tonight. Across Mesopotamian tablets, faint engravings depict a luminous serpent descending from the heavens. Its tail stretches across the sky, bathing the earth in unnatural light. To the untrained eye, this was mythology, but those who have studied the cosmic alignments know it was a record. The serpent was no animal, it was the comet. In the ruins of Göbekli Tepe, archaeologists unearthed stones etched with celestial markers pointing to an event 13 millennia ago. A streaking object, brighter than the moon, scorched the night, followed by sudden climatic collapse. The ancients did not record it in words. They embedded it in stone, a silent warning for an age that would return. The Maya spoke of it too, not as three-eye Atlas, but as Xibalba's flame, a wandering fire from the gods, bringing trials to cleanse the earth. Their codices speak of its appearance every great cycle, coinciding with upheavals, oceans shifting, mountains waking, kingdoms falling. The Maya calendar's end date was not about an ending, but about a passing shadow. Egypt's priests knew. In the temple walls of Dendera, cryptic star maps detail a celestial body approaching not along the ecliptic path of planets, but cutting through the sky at an unnatural angle. This was not a planet. It was an interstellar intruder. The comet's return was drawn with reverence and fear, a messenger of balance, not destruction alone. Legends from the Hopi elders echo the same vision, a blue star Kachina appearing before the Great Purification. The star, they say, will dance across the heavens with a shimmering tail, shaking the hearts of men. Those who have forgotten the old ways will tremble. Those who remember will stand ready. The three-eye Atlas Comet's modern discovery in our telescopes was not an accident. It came as humanity was entering its own self-made crisis. Technology accelerates, oceans heat, and tensions boil between nations. The comet does not create chaos, it reveals it, amplifies it, forcing civilizations to face the fractures they've ignored. Ancient Sumerian texts describe a sky wanderer that bends rivers and changes the paths of stars. While impossible in our modern astronomical logic, the symbolic meaning is clear. The comet shifts the order of things. What was predictable becomes uncertain. What was stable begins to quake. History bends around it. In the high plateaus of Peru, the Nazca people carved massive geoglyphs only visible from the sky. Among them is a spiral design, strikingly similar to the orbital path calculated for the comet. Why would a civilization with no telescopes carve this unless they were warning or greeting something from the cosmos? From Babylon to the Indus Valley, flood myths align in eerie precision. Scholars once dismissed these as allegories for seasonal rains, but the geological layers tell a harsher truth. There were rapid global changes. Ice sheets collapsed, sea levels surged, and always somewhere in the records a blazing body is seen in the heavens. The comet's trajectory, unlike planets, is wild and unbound. It comes from beyond our solar system, a visitor from deep space. Astronomers say its last crossing may have been tens of thousands of years ago. Yet somehow, civilizations separated by oceans remembered it, naming it differently, but recognizing the same omen. When the ancients spoke of gods descending from the sky, perhaps they did not mean beings with wings. Perhaps they meant messengers of stone and fire, wrapped in icy armor, carrying the memory of other worlds. A comet is both a destroyer and a bearer of seeds, bringing devastation yet scattering the building blocks of life. Hidden in the Vedic texts of India lies the story of Dvaja, the flaming banner that streaked across the heavens before the Kurukshetra war. The Mahabharata speaks of unnatural winds, red skies, and falling stars before the great battle. Was this poetic flourish or a distant echo of the same celestial visitor? Ancient Chinese astronomers kept meticulous records of guest stars and wandering lights. In 240 BC, Halley's Comet was recorded, but there is another, far rarer record of a massive blue-white light crossing the northern sky against the normal paths of the planets. The imperial court considered it an omen of dynastic change. The three-eye Atlas Comet today is a silent traveler, invisible to the naked eye, still far beyond Pluto. Yet its approach aligns eerily with prophecies across cultures. These prophecies do not speak of annihilation alone, but of choice. The comet comes, but it is humanity's response that decides whether it heralds rebirth or ruin. In the caves of Lascaux, France, ancient paintings of animals share space with peculiar dot patterns. Some researchers believe these dots match star constellations altered by a comet's passage thousands of years ago. To the Ice Age hunter, the sky was a clock, and the comet was a hand sweeping through it, resetting time itself. In Norse sagas before Ragnarok, a great fire serpent rises into the heavens, its eyes burning like the sun, its tail sweeping the earth. Mountains tremble, seas boil. While scholars call this myth, it is hard to ignore how closely it mirrors the visual spectacle of a massive comet entering the inner solar system. Why did so many civilizations who never met paint the same picture in different words? Why does a wandering ball of ice inspire such terror and reverence? The answer is simple. The comet is not just an object, it is a mirror. When it passes, it reflects the state of the world back to itself. The three-eye Atlas Comet is not fated to destroy us, but it will challenge us, just as it challenged the Egyptians, the Maya, the Sumerians. Some societies fell when it passed, others rose, reshaping themselves. The difference lay in how they listened to the warnings hidden in their ancestors' voices. As the comet's path curves inward, the world's eyes will turn to the skies. Scientists will measure its mass, its speed, its ice composition. But those who have read the old prophecies will watch for other signs. The sudden shifts in weather, the strange auroras, the uneasy restlessness in the hearts of nations. This comet carries memory. Its ice contains the dust of other worlds, fragments of places older than our sun. When it melts in the heat of our star, that memory will scatter into our atmosphere, into our seas, into our soil. The ancients believed this was a cosmic baptism, cleansing the earth before renewal. From the jungles of the Amazon to the deserts of Arabia, shamans and seers have spoken of a sky gate that opens when a great traveler passes. They claim that dreams intensify, visions sharpen, and the veil between worlds thins. Whether you call it superstition or cosmic resonance, the pattern repeats across cultures. In the coming years, the comet's visibility will grow. At first, a faint smudge in the night, then a burning streak commanding the heavens. And as it brightens, the voices of the past will grow louder in our subconscious, pressing the same question they asked their own people. Will you change or will you fall? Those who dismiss it as mere rock will miss its deeper meaning. The ancients saw the cosmos as alive, every motion carrying intent. The three-eye Atlas Comet's return is not random. It is part of a vast cycle, a rhythm that even the stars obey. And we, as a young species, are only beginning to hear its drumbeat. When Atlantis fell, legends say a shining dragon appeared in the sky days before the great waves. Whether Atlantis was real or symbolic, the motif is familiar. Great civilizations vanish, not without warning, but with ignored warning. And always, somewhere above, the comet watches, silent but unblinking. If history is a river, then the comet is the floodgate. It does not change the course entirely, but it forces the current to split, to choose. Down one path lies renewal, down the other collapse. The ancients carved their choice into stone. We will carve ours into the fate of the planet. The three-eye Atlas Comet has crossed paths with humanity before, yet we have forgotten. We have replaced stone records with fragile digital ones, vulnerable to a single solar flare. The ancients understood permanence. They knew that some messages must survive for thousands of years. Their survival proves their urgency. Now, as its arc through the void brings it closer, we stand where they stood, on the threshold, and perhaps somewhere deep in our collective memory, we remember the light, the awe, the fear. We remember the choice. And soon, that choice will no longer be theoretical. The sky will demand our answer,